18-8 in the SEC is a pretty good number. I haven't really touched on that too much. It was a little bit more of a down year in the SEC with Kentucky not having the greatest year and stuff like that. But
Hmm.
still, I mean, this conference has been obviously it's not the same way that is in football as the Big 12 and the Big 10 are much more comparable in basketball. And sometimes, this year you could argue the Big 12 was better and the Big 10 was better. Still, with all of the players that come out of Kentucky, Florida's got a great history. Anthony Edwards is from Georgia. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head, but there's a lot of players that have come out of the SEC in their days. Obviously, I'm an LSU guy, so Pistol
Hmm.
Pete and Shaq, just to name two Hall of Famers there. Uh, he dominated this conference this year. Auburn, I'm forgetting about Auburn. Auburn's
Auburn,
been a
yeah.
perennial contender over the past decade. So the way that he dominated this conference this year was really impressive. I mean, they blew out Texas A&M in the SEC final this year, by it wasn't even a game. Like it was like they just ran away from everybody, and it wasn't
Hmm.
like they were bad teams either. It was just because of him. Like I don't think Alabama would have been the same Alabama this year without uh, Brandon Miller. That's for sure. Um, but that's the reason, like that. That's the reason why. Maybe another answer to your question that you started off this episode with, Ethan. Why is he getting considered? As potentially maybe jumping Scoot in the number 2 pick. It's because of what he did in college, how dominant he was in his league, and how really until they saw San Diego State. I mean, the March Madness games are closer in general, but in the regular season, I mean, they were making it look like nobody belonged on the same floor as them for a real long time.
Mm. Yeah, I could see the last two games of his March Madness career this past season was the really the only two really difficult games. It seems like he shot 16% against San Diego State, 9 points, and then he had 19 against Maryland, but he shot 29%.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say that that's him not playing well in the clutch because it's like go look at the SEC tournament,
Hmm.
where they're
Yeah.
playing for a championship technically. But I would just say that was kind of that ties into just March Madness. This year it was weird one, but also just in general, like it's a much more defensive game.